All right, welcome to another video. Oops, it looks like I don't know, I'm speaking louder or something, but I saw the audio go into the yellow, so I guess I'll turn that down a little bit. I'm going to be doing another video on Python for DevOps. Um, I'm just kind of um, I want to finish a book. I just kind of think I'll get some sort of satisfaction out of finishing a book. Um, so I've been doing my best to follow along with this book. Unfortunately, they've got a different environment. I haven't really been able to figure out how to use. I don't think it's available for anyone to use. Logistically, that just doesn't seem possible for the authors to do. Um, so I'm attempting to use my own lab where I can pin up virtual machines, and on those virtual machines, I can run Docker containers. We saw that happening on an Ubuntu VM that I pinned up. But for every little thing in the book, um, I might not have success because my environment is so much different than the environment used in this book. We saw that in the last video where I tried to use a Red Hat based Linux distribution to run the same Docker container, proving the point that Docker containers are their own application and they don't require anything from the OSs themselves, which is what makes them what so advantageous, or one of the things that makes them so advantageous. You can install it on a Windows machine, on a OS X machine, on a Red Hat, on a Debian, whatever you want, as long as you can set up Docker itself. You can set up a Docker container and you can use applications regardless of what operating system you're running. All right, so I had to kind of skip through some of this. I just couldn't get it to work. That's okay. It's just sometimes that's the only possible way to continue. And so, so yeah, we're gonna continue on. This is running multiple container Docker containers with Docker Compose. In this section, we will use the Flask by example tutorial that describes how to build a Flask application that calculates frequency, word frequency pairs based on the text from a given URL. Start by cloning the Flask by example GitHub repository. Okay, so I've got to figure out where I want to do this. I think I'm going to do this on one of the VMs in my GNS3 lab. So I've got down here something that says simple Ubuntu VM, and then I've got a CentOS VM as well. So title's a little bit off, but I think I have a workspace here, so I'm going to use that. All right, and then once that's up, the first thing I'll be doing is this git clone command. Now I might want to make a new workspace. But we'll see once I get my CLI. I'm going to pause the video quick. I need to take care of something. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just needed to look into something quick. And I've got my connection up now, or sorry, my Ubuntu VN is now fully loaded. Okay, so let's take a look at the workspaces I've got. I've got the default there. I've got one Python for DevOps. Okay, so let's not work out of that one because it's got some extra files in there from before. So we're gonna do oh, you know what? When you pull a repo down, when you clone a repo, it comes in its own folder, in its own top level folder. So we're gonna be pulling this, and then instead of creating a folder to pull it into, after we pull it, we'll already have a folder called Flask by example, and that will contain all of the code itself. So you don't need to, when you create a, when you do a git clone, you don't need to create a new folder to clone it into. It will all automatically clone it into the top level folder of the a top level folder that contains the repo. So creating a top level folder yourself is just not necessary if you're doing a clone from a GitHub repository. Oh, what? Wow. Okay, it looks like they're pulling right from real Python. Yeah, so this is one of the big things I discussed in the past is, and I'll pull up my blog entry I made on it. I believe it was, um, yeah, self-learning methods, pros and cons. So this is one of the big pros. Yeah, this is one of the so now we can see here. I paid for an Amazon Kindle book that's actually using so basically in paying for this self-learning method in Amazon Kindle book, it's serving as a paywalled proxy for this learning method here, free online books and tutorials. So I definitely now I already bought a book, um, another book, Amazon Kindle book. It's just kind of easy, but when it comes to learning Python or when it comes to learning anything, I definitely think this is the key for a lot of things because it's free, it's openly available, and if you buy a book, if the tutorial is good enough, the book will just bring you to the free tutorial. So pretty much anything I want to learn, I think the first thing I need to do is just go up to this search bar on realpython.com. Let's say I want to learn about um, network engineering. I search for that. Yeah, so now we can learn about IP addressing. We can, um, uh, oh, here's a good one on AI, which isn't exactly, yeah. And look, they're long form, detailed um, tutorials. All right, so let's check back into the Ubuntu VPN. Looks like we're still downloading here. One of the things I've been kind of showing, and granted this is a video series in and of itself, is my API calls out to a weather API. I'm going through and checking, I'm going to check the heat and humidity in every city I can find because I want to know if there's um, this new kind of weather condition that can be harmful. So that's a topic for another video, but since we're just sitting here waiting, I'll check the progress on that right now. Okay, so we've got now this is surprising because the number of cities, from what I understand, if you Google how many total cities are there in the world, question mark, you get 10,000. So we're up to 20,000. So that's surprising. Now my repository is now cloned, so I don't want to waste too much time on this because, as I keep saying, this is a topic um, for its own video series. But let's just take a look at the last city that was found. I'm just curious um, which one that is. Okay. Okay, so it was Mirotovac in Russia. Yep, Russia's got a lot of cities. So we've been pulling Russia for uh, definitely more than 12 hours, if not more than 24 so far. So last thing I like to do is just take a quick Google search for this city, take a look at it on the map. Looks like it's in Serbia. Um, Kind of see if there's anything like modern in the area, like a restaurant or whatever. Uh, so it looks like there's a border crossing station, gas station, chicken restaurant. Let's take a look at the reviews on that. Looks good. All right, so if you're ever in um, Miratovac, Serbia, and you really like chicken, you are good to go. All systems go for you. Ooh, wow. It's really, really small. Okay, that's sorry. I'll keep on topic here. That again, I'm gonna um, want to keep consistent with what my videos and playlists are about. So let's continue on with this. We will use Compose to run multiple Docker containers representing the different parts of the example application. With Compose, you use a YAML file to define and configure the services comprising an application. Then you use the Docker Compose command line utility to create, start, and stop these services that will run as Docker containers. The first dependency to consider for the example application is PostgreSQL, as described in part 2 of the tutorial. Here is how to run PostgreSQL in a Docker container inside a Docker compose.yaml file. So I'm not sure if they want me to actually do the real Python tutorial here, um, or if the book's just going to walk it through kind of using their own language. But let's just stick to the book now, and then if I get lost, I'll go through the tutorial. Here is how to run PostgreSQL in a Docker container inside a Docker compose.yaml file. Okay, so I think we're going to need to do that. Let's go into the repo we just got. And I don't see anything about that. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we don't. So it looks like what we're doing here is we're doing these instructions, deploying a Flask application, but we're doing it with a little bit of modifications from what the tutorial says here. Instead of just creating our Flask application, um, we're going to be creating it in a Docker container. I think. I'm really not sure. I don't know where to put this file. Okay, so let's try creating this file, and we're going to create it outside of the repo. We'll create it here. So we'll start by doing that, and then we can always move it inside of the repo if it needs to be there. All right. A few things to note about this file. Define a service called DB based on the Postgres colon 11 image published on Docker Hub. Specify a port mapping from local port 5432 to the container port 5432. Specify a Docker volume for the directory where PostgreSQL stores its data, which is here. Hopefully that's the same on my environment. This is so that the data stored in PostgreSQL will persist across restarts of the container. The Docker Compose utility is not part of the Docker engine, so it needs to be installed separately. See the official documentation for instructions on installing it in various systems. Okay, so that's a hard stopping point. We've got to move over to this documentation here and follow it. Um, I can do that right now. There's no problem with that. So we'll go to the Linux tab and we'll just enter these commands here. Unfortunately, I don't have, um, yeah. All right. I don't have the ability to just copy I think, maybe there's another, I don't know. Okay. But yeah, let's do this now. All right, looks good to me. It's downloading. Not sure how long this is going to take, so I'm going to take a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. Next step in this tutorial will be to apply executable permissions to the binary. If you're new to Linux, permissions is a little bit tricky. Um, it's sometimes it's just hard to know that the issue you're dealing with is permissions if you're brand new to Linux. But once you know that it's a permissions issue, it's pretty easy to find help on it and learn about the permission system in Linux. Okay, so I don't think we need to do this because the command. Oh, okay, so before we do, so this is a optional step. We're going to need to do it if the command docker compose fails. So let's try that. All right, and the command didn't fail, so we're good to go. Excellent. I love it when things work. To bring up the DB service defined in docker compose.yaml, run the docker-compose up-d db command, which will launch the Docker container for the DB service in the background, which is what the -d flag runs it in the background. Okay, so we've got a problem here. We've got a named volume. Okay, so we've got no declaration in the volumes section. Okay, so we do have a declaration here, so I think it's pretty clear that our declaration isn't valid. Um, I I guess I guess I want to try changing this from DB data to just DB. Before we do that, though, let's actually go to this path and make sure that it exists. Okay, so the directory does not exist. Um, so I think probably my problem is that I don't have. Yeah, so the first dependency to consider for the example application is post SQL. I don't have this dependency installed yet, so I'm going to need to click here and go finish this part of the tutorial before I continue. Yeah, so I've got to set up a post uh, this. I've got to set up this database. Okay, you know what? Let's just do this. So we're going to go into the repo. We're going to go. So we've got a requirements.txt file, and okay. Well, we don't have post GRESQL. Huh. Not found. Um, all right, let's try installing it. Yeah, so the problem is that this is not a valid path. We got to get that working as a valid path somehow first. Okay, so I think we'll just go through this whole thing. Start with the install requirements. You know what? I think I should be fine just to create that directory myself. Oh, you can't create a directory inside a directory that doesn't exist. You have to create the top level directory first. Okay, so now my file should be valid because it's pointing to a path that actually exists. I thought that the path would get created when I installed PostSQL. Like, I thought that the problem was that I didn't have a dependency installed, and after I installed the dependency, it would create that path automatically. But I think the problem simply was just that the path I pointed to in my file did not exist in my device. So just creating that blank path has no greater meaning attached to a dependency, I think is all I needed to do. So let's do a deactivate because I started this, basically I was just trying to just kind of um, do whatever I needed to do to get it to work, and I kind of veered off into territory I didn't need to go into. So yeah, I really think it's going to work. Let's see. Nope. So we still have a named volume that has no declaration in the volumes section. But it does have a declaration. The declaration is right there. Ah, okay. So it looks like I got it. The next step, it looks like they had a syntax error here in their example. That's too bad. I saw that before. But so we also need a type though. I'm not sure what to put there. So uh, let's go to real Python and search for Docker Compose. Let's search for Docker Compose. There we go. Okay, and then let's look for volumes. Okay, and is there anything about type? There's nothing about type. So it looks like here they just have uh let's see if they have anything that says DB data. No. Huh, I don't see anything about type. Okay. Type. Okay, so it looks like I need another. Let's try that. So we're going to try adding this section down here. Okay, that did not work at all. Not even close. Looks like they have a dash here. I guess I'll try a dash. Ah, I did it. So I kind of just free balled that. I didn't. I kind of took a lot of just guesses. Well, I kind of like tested a lot of hypotheses I had about like what things meant. Um, and it turned out leading to the right answer. And I'll explain kind of a bit what my thought process was. Um, once this install is done. Right now, I just need to find my place again. Okay. Oh, Okay, so here's my place. I just ran this command, and now it is working. So the next thing we're going to do is inspect the logs for the DB service with the Docker Compose logs DB command. All right, everything looks good. Oops. Okay, we haven't done anything yet, I think is what it's saying. So before going on, I will explain a bit of what my thought process was. So the error message I was getting was saying that the volumes section was not. So first of all, my thought process was just that there was something wrong with my syntax here. So you saw how I added a space there, I added quotes, and that was my initial thought process. Then ultimately, I just thought about the error I was getting a little bit more, and you know what? Let's get that error back because I think that'll be the most eye-opening thing is just to see that error again. So we'll go here. I think we can add yeah, we can just add like that. And then we'll do uh, history 85. There we go. So now we can see the error that we were seeing before. Named volume here is used in service DB, but no declaration was found in the volume section. So let's save this. Okay, and let's put it side by side with that file. And now let's read it through again. So named volume, DB data here, we can see that here, it's a named volume, is used in the service DB. So services DB. Sure enough, we've got a named volume used in the service DB. But no declaration was found in the volumes section. So this here is not the volumes section. This is the services section. It's just a way you can declare a volume you want used as part of your services. So you need an additional section where you declare what the actual volumes are. And then once you have that declared, it doesn't have to happen before in the file, it can happen after you call it. It's basically like a function in Python, where if you want to call the function, you've got to define the function first. So that's basically what we were doing. We were trying to call a volume that we never declared, that we never declared in the first place. Okay, so hopefully that's nice and clear. Let's go on to the next step. So inspected the logs, everything looked good. The next step will be running Docker PS, shows the container running the PostGRE SQL database. Oh, and this is the problem I had before. There's some kind of missing step where they don't actually run the container. Oh, I think I made a mistake here when I went in there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Nothing. Oh, so if we look at our logs, it looks like we were missing a few steps. So Docker compose logs. Yeah. So ours is we don't have that ready to accept data because it looks like we've got a number of steps we need to do first. We need to initialize a database and a super user password. Um, yeah. Okay. It looks like we could just use this though. So let's use that. Or let's try this. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure what to do here. I think it's got to be in this file, Docker Compose. All right, let's try that dash E flag. Yeah, no such. Okay, yeah, that's for the Docker run, not the Docker Compose. All right. Well, you know what? I might have to just skip it again. It's just not working predictably for me. Um, I can't get the Docker container to run. So running Docker volume ls shows the DB data Docker volume mounted for the PostgreSQL directory. Okay, let's try that. Maybe we got that working. Looks like I can't use the book now. Okay, there we go. Docker volume ls pipe grep DB data. Oh, okay. It looks like we do have a yeah, it looks like I did it in the wrong directory though. They did want it in that other directory. So let's try that. We're gonna move this Docker Compose over to the Flask by example, and then Docker delete or rm. There we go. Oh, the volume's in use. Oh, God damn it. Okay, I did it. I did it. Perfect. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm shutting down because it was named wrong, and I think that's because it's in the wrong directory. So let's put it in the right directory. We're going to do a move on it now on that file. Missing operand. Oh, okay. Into Flask by example. Perfect. We'll activate the virtual environment just because we can. Might need to. Okay, and then we'll do the commands again. Docker compose up dash d db. Okay, so now we can see we're creating the volume that is listed here. Let's take a look at that. Docker volume ls pipe grab db data. There we go. Docker ps. So we still got the problem where the container itself actually isn't running, but we do have the volume named correctly now. So let's continue. To connect to the PostGRE SQL database running in the Docker container associated with the DB service, run the command docker compose execdb and pass it the command line psql-u postgres. Okay, so I don't have PSQL. Let me try doing a sudo on this. Still nothing. So I think I need the command PSQL. I don't think I did an update yet. Let me do an update. All right, I have no idea why this one's not working. You know what? It's probably because the container's not up. All right, let's just keep on going. Following Flask by example part two, create a database called word count. Okay, that's not working. Connect to the word count database and create a role called word count underscore db admin that will be used by the Flask application. Okay, that's clearly not going to work. Next step is to create a Docker file for installing all the prerequisites for the Flask application. Make the following modifications to the requirements.txt file. Modify the version of the package. Okay. Okay, we're not going to do that either. Let's just kind of skim to the end of this again. It's really not working for me. And it sounds like really the idea is to just do this tutorial here. So I guess I'd rather just do the tutorial instead of focusing on um, this resource that's just not working for me here. All right, so let's just keep reading. I couldn't get it to work. Um, oh, that's really demoralizing. Okay, so we'll move the bookmark to here. Delete the older bookmarks. Okay, and now I'm gonna go and get the tutorials that they wanted. Okay, and then I'll just I'll just, I think I'm gonna end the video and then list all of the tutorials they had, and then in the next video go and do the tutorials. It's quite a bit of a diversion, but it will be um, necessary to have this up and running, I think. Okay, so yeah, this is it. It's the Flask by example tutorial. So that's going to be it for this video. It's over an hour. So um, Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think this is all I have to do. I need this command though. I don't have that command. PSQL. Roll GNS3 does not exist. Yeah, I'm stuck. So uh, I'm done with this. It's been more than an hour, and I've got to get to something at 11. So that's gonna be it for this video. When I come back, we might be yeah we might be working more through the actual real Python resources. So I'll include those um, in the description, and then we'll see what we can do when I come back. I have the bookmark moved up to the next reading section, so I might have to just kind of uh, keep moving on if I can't get this to work, but hopefully I'll have better luck once I come back and I'm more fresh. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.